In seeking bliss and immortality, humans are in fact trying to upgrade themselves into gods. Not just because these are divine qualities, but because in order to overcome old age and misery, humans will first have to acquire godlike control of their own biological substratum. If we ever have the power to engineer death and pain out of our systems, that same power will probably be sufficient to engineer our systems in almost any manner we like, and manipulate our organs, emotions, and intelligence in myriad ways. You could buy for yourself the strength of Hercules, the sensuality of Aphrodite, the wisdom of Athena, or the badness of Dionysus, if that is what you're into. Up till now, increasing human power relied mainly on upgrading our external tools. In the future, it may rely more on upgrading the human body and mind, or merging directly with our tools. The upgrading of humans into gods may follow any of three paths: biological engineering, cyborg engineering, and the engineering of non-organic beings. Biological engineering starts with the insight that we are far from realizing the full potential of organic bodies. For 4 billion years, natural selection has been tweaking and tinkering with these bodies, so that we have gone from amoeba to reptiles to mammals to sapiens. Yet there is no reason to think that sapiens is the last station. Relatively small changes in genes, hormones, and neurons were enough to transform Homo erectus, who could produce nothing more impressive than flint knives, into Homo sapiens, who produces spaceships and computers. Who knows what might be the outcome of a few more changes to our DNA, hormonal system, or brain structure. Bioengineering is not going to wait patiently for natural selection to work its magic. Instead, bioengineers will take the old sapiens body and intentionally rewrite its genetic code, rewire its brain circuits, alter its biochemical balance, and even grow entirely new limbs. They will thereby create new godlings, who might be as different from us sapiens as we are different from Homo erectus. Cyborg engineering will go a step further, merging the organic body with non-organic devices, such as bionic hands, artificial eyes, or millions of nanorobots that will navigate our bloodstreams. Diagnose problems and repair damage. Such a cyborg could enjoy abilities far beyond those of any organic body. For example, all parts of an organic body must be in direct contact with one another in order to function. If an elephant's brain is in India, its eyes and ears in China, and its feet in Australia, then this elephant is most probably dead. And even if it is, in some mysterious sense, alive, it cannot see, hear, or walk. A cyborg, in contrast, could exist in numerous places at the same time. A cyborg doctor could perform emergency surgeries in Tokyo, in Chicago, and in a space station on Mars, without ever leaving her Stockholm office. She will need only a fast internet connection and a few pairs of bionic eyes and hands. On second thought, why pairs? Why not quadrants? Indeed, even those are actually superfluous. Why should a cyborg doctor hold a surgeon's scalpel by hand when she could connect her mind directly to the instrument? This may sound like science fiction, but it's already a reality. Monkeys have recently learned to control bionic hands and feet, disconnected from their bodies through electrodes implanted in their brains. Paralyzed patients are able to move bionic limbs or operate computers by the power of thought alone. If you wish, you can already remote control electric devices. The helmet requires no brain electric mind-reading helmet. It functions by reading the electric signals passing through your scalp. If you want to turn on the lights in your kitchen, you just wear the helmet, imagine some pre-programmed mental sign, for example imagining your right hand moving, and the switch turns on. You can buy such helmets online for a mere $400. Yet even cyborg engineering is relatively conservative, inasmuch as it assumes that organic brains will go on being the command and control centers of life. A bolder approach dispenses with organic parts altogether and hopes to engineer completely non-organic beings. Neural networks will be replaced by intelligent software which could surf both the virtual and non-virtual worlds, free from the limitations of organic chemistry. After 4 billion years, of wandering inside the kingdom of organic compounds, life will break out into the vastness of the inorganic realm, and will take shapes that we cannot envision even in our wildest dreams. After all, our wildest dreams are still the product of our organic chemistry. Breaking out of the organic realm could also enable life to finally break out of the planet Earth. For 4 billion years, life remained confined to this tiny speck of a planet because natural selection made all organisms utterly dependent on the unique conditions of our flying rock. Not even the toughest bacteria can survive on Mars. A non-organic artificial intelligence, in contrast, will find it far easier to colonize alien planets. The replacement of organic life by inorganic beings may therefore sow the seed of a future galactic empire, ruled by the likes of Mr. Data rather than Captain Kirk. We don't know where these paths may lead us, nor what our godlike descendants will look like. Foretelling the future was never easy, and revolutionary biotechnologies make it even harder. For as difficult as it is to predict the impact of new technologies in fields like transportation, communication, and energy, technology for upgrading humans pose a completely different kind of challenge. Since they can be used to transform human minds and desires, people possessing present-day minds and desires by definition cannot fathom their implications. For thousands of years, history was full of technological, economic, social, and political upheavals, yet one thing remained constant: humanity itself. Our tools and institutions are very different from those of biblical times, but the deep structures of the human mind remain the same. This is why we can still find ourselves between the pages of the Bible, in the writings of Confucius, or within the tragedies of Sophocles and Euripides. These classics were created by humans, just like us, hence we feel that they talk about us. In modern theatre productions, Oedipus, Hamlet, and Othello may wear jeans and t-shirts and have Facebook accounts, but their emotional conflicts are the same as in the original play. However, once technology enables us to re-engineer human minds, Homo sapiens will disappear. Human history will come to an end, and a completely new kind of process will begin, which people like you and me cannot comprehend. Many scholars try to predict how the world will look in the year 2100
Any
or
worthwhile
2200.
prediction must
This
take
is a
into
waste of
account the
time. Ability to re-engineer human minds, and this is impossible. There are many wise answers to this question. What would people with minds like ours do with biotechnology? Yet there are no good answers to this question. What would beings with a different kind of mind do with biotechnology? All we can say is that people similar to us are likely to use biotechnology to re-engineer their own minds, and our present-day minds cannot grasp what might happen next. Though the details are therefore obscure, we can nevertheless be sure about the general direction of history. In the 21st century, the third big project of humankind will be to acquire for us divine powers of creation and destruction, and upgrade Homo sapiens into Homo Deus. We want the ability to re-engineer our bodies and minds in order, above all, to escape old age, death, and misery. But once we have it, who knows what else we might do with such ability. So we may well think of the new human agenda as consisting really of only one project, attaining divinity. If this sounds unscientific or downright eccentric, it is because people often misunderstand the meaning of divinity. Divinity isn't a vague metaphysical quality, and it isn't the same as omnipotence. When speaking of upgrading humans into gods, think more in terms of Greek gods or Hindu devas rather than the omnipotent biblical Sky Father. Our descendants would still have their feebles, kinks and limitations, just as Zeus and Indra had theirs, but they could love, hate, create and destroy on a much grander scale than us. Throughout history, most gods were believed to enjoy not omnipotence, but rather specific super abilities, such as the ability to design and create living beings, to transform their own bodies, to control the environment and the weather, to read minds and to communicate at a distance, to travel at very high speeds, and of course to escape death and live indefinitely. Humans are in the business of acquiring all these abilities, and then some. Certain traditional abilities that were considered divine for many millennia have today become so commonplace that we hardly think about them. The average person now moves and communicates across distances much more easily than the Greek, Hindu, or African gods of old. In ancient agricultural societies, many religions displayed surprisingly little interest in metaphysical questions and the afterlife. Instead, they focused on the very mundane issues of increasing agricultural output. Thus, the Old Testament God never promises any reward of punishment after death. He instead tells the people of Israel that if you carefully observe the commands that I'm giving you, then I will send rain on the land in its season. Scientists today can do much better than the Old Testament God. Thanks to the artificial fertilizers, industrial insecticides, and genetically modified crops, agricultural production nowadays outstrips the highest expectations ancient farmers had of their gods. And the parched state of Israel no longer fears that some angry deity will restrain the heavens and stop all rain, for the Israelis have recently built a huge desalination plant on the shores of the Mediterranean, so they can now get all their drinking water straight from the sea. So far, we have competed with the gods of old by creating better and better tools. In the not-too-distant future, we might create superhumans who will outstrip the ancient gods, not in their tools, but in their bodily and mental faculties. If and when we get there, however, divinity will become as mundane as cyberspace. A wonder of wonders that we just take for granted. We can be quite certain that humans will make a bid for divinity, because humans have many reasons to desire such an upgrade, and many ways to achieve it. Even if one promising path turns out to be a dead end, alternative routes will remain open. For example, we may discover that the human genome is far too complicated for serious manipulation, but this will not prevent the development of brain-computer interfaces, nanorobots, or artificial intelligence. No need to panic though, at least not immediately. Upgrading sapiens will be a gradual process rather than a Hollywood apocalypse. Homo sapiens is not going to be exterminated by a robot revolt. Rather, Homo sapiens is likely to upgrade itself step by step, merging with robots and computers in the process, until our descendants will look back and realize they are no longer the kind of animal that wrote the Bible, built the Great Wall of China, and laughed at Charlie Chaplin's antics. This will not happen in a day or a year. Indeed, it is already happening right now, through innumerable mundane actions. Every day, millions of people decide to grant their smartphones a bit more control over their lives, or try a new and more effective antidepressant of health, drug. Happiness, and power, humans will gradually change first one of their features, and then another, and another, until they will no longer be human.